Hey everybody, Eric here. Decided to do a video on today in honor of Juneteenth, which is June 19th every year, and it is a federal holiday, recognized federal holiday. And so the purpose of this video, it's all over social media, but I have to throw my 2 cents in regarding a Cabarrus County commissioner earlier in the week after Cabarrus County voted positively on a resolution recognizing and honoring Juneteenth. This particular commissioner, the Board of Commissioners, said that Juneteenth was based on a lie. I'm just going to show you the video. And also, part of this is that a person in the audience, apparently there was an elevated conversation between this person and the commissioner is actually um, over over pronouncing the word boy. All right, and that's pertinent for this video. So let's listen to the video. And of course, it's buffering. And this is WCNC's website. No, I am not disabling my ad blocker because ads slow down websites, but they're purposely um, slowing down. Well, for the interest of the time and everything, let me just go ahead and go through the text, and I'll let you know what he said. So this meeting was on Monday, and the commissioner's name is Larry Pittman. He cast the lone vote against the resolution recognizing Juneteenth, arguing the holiday is, quote, based on a lie and should not be celebrated on June 19th. And here's what he said: I don't support it because it's based on a lie. People were not set free by the Emancipation Proclamation. If you want to celebrate the slaves being set free, I want to celebrate with you, but get the date right. And he's saying the date is December the 18th. It is not. It is not. And I'm going to prove that. Unquote. Well, actually, get the date right, which is December 18th. Unquote. I'm going to prove that he is wrong. And so the text even says Juneteenth commemorates June 19th, 1865, when Union troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, and informed enslaved people they were free more than 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. So again, Commissioner Pittman believes that slaves were free on December 18th. He goes on to argue that the celebration marking the end of slavery should instead recognize the ratification of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States. The proposal of the 13th Amendment was in December, but it was not ratified until the following January. And again, I'm going to prove that. And he said 8 months after the war was over and Lincoln was dead. So it goes on with this information. So Commissioner Pittman also says that he has a son who has a degree in history, and that he proved that Juneteenth is based on a lie. Again, I'm going to prove that Commissioner Pittman and his son are uninformed. So let's dive into it. First of all, let me go back to Juneteenth. Juneteenth, officially named Juneteenth National Independence Day, is a federal holiday in the United States. It is celebrated annually on June 19th to commemorate the end of slavery in the United States. The holiday's name, first used in the 1890s, is a portmanteau of June and 19th, referring to June 19th, 1865, the day when Major General Gordon Granger ordered the final enforcement of the Emancipation Proclamation in Texas at the end of the American Civil War. Okay? That is what Juneteenth is based on. It is not based on the Emancipation Proclamation. It is not based on the abolishment of slavery, which is the 13th Amendment. It is based on the day that the Union Army marched into Galveston, Texas, to tell them that slavery was over. Because, and mind you, slavery at this time was already ended 2 years earlier. The potential, not the potential, but the preference for slavery, slave owners did not want slaves to know how to read. Because reading gives you knowledge, and knowledge is power. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. And so the slaves didn't even know that slavery was over. They didn't. And they were still enslaved even though slavery was over. That's the reason that the Union Army marched into Galveston, Texas, to tell them you are free and you have been free. That is what Juneteenth is about. But let's talk about the 13th Amendment, because Commissioner Pittman is saying it should be celebrating the 13th Amendment. We don't celebrate. There is no holiday for an amendment. There is no holiday. The holiday is for the country's independence. That is July the 4th. There are 27 amendments. We do not have 27 holidays, much less one, for any of the amendments. But let's talk about the 13th Amendment. Let's talk about that. So again, he said December, I'm going to bring this back up. He said, let me bring that quote back up. Again, right here. He said the date should be December the 18th. And again, people were not set free by the Emancipation Proclamation. But let's talk about the amendment, because that's what he's saying. Let's talk about the amendment. So the 13th Amendment was passed by Congress on January 31st, 1865. It was later officially ratified by the required number of states on December 6, 1865, formally abolishing slavery and involuntary servitude throughout the United States. And here's the timeline. On April 8th of 1864, the United States Senate passed it. On January 31st, 1865, the U.S. House of Representatives passed it. On February 1st, 1865, signed as a joint resolution by President Abraham Lincoln. On December 6th, 1865, it was ratified by the necessary number of states. Georgia became the 27th state to approve it. Georgia got it over the hump, and they were the second largest slave holding state during slavery. Then December 18th, which is what Commissioner Pittman is talking about, is that it was officially proclaimed as part of the U.S. Constitution. 12 days after it was ratified. However, the amendment itself, the constitutional amendment, did not free slaves. The Emancipation Proclamation freed slaves. Because you remember, look at this timeline. Juneteenth happened on June 19th, 1865. Let's count it. And it was signed by the president. Signed by the president, meaning when it's signed by the president, it is a law. It is law right then. So February, count with me, February, March, count with me, March, April, May, June, 4 months. 4 months. It's when the Union Army marched into Galveston, Texas, to tell those slaves that they were free. But let's keep going. That's 4 months. 5, 6, 7. So that's June, July, August, September, October, November, December. 10 months. 10 months. It took 10 months for the states to ratify it. And then another few days to actually put it in the Constitution. So if we, again, go by the law process, Congress makes the laws, right? The president signs the laws. States have to ratify any changes into the Constitution, but it first has to be voted by, which it was. And so I would tell Commissioner Pittman and his son, you're wrong. Juneteenth is about the group of slaves who did not know that they were free on June 19th, 1865. And since you wanted to tell the person out in the audience and told him that it wasn't his time to talk, boy, I know what you were doing. I know what you were doing. You were trying to Southern shame this guy. And I know for a fact that the guy in the audience was an African American, and that is pertinent to this conversation and this video. Commissioner Pittman, I will tell you, I don't know your son. Hell, I don't even know you. But you put yourself out there. You put yourself out there, and that's why you are viral. And so I'm just going to tell you and any other person who supports you on based of what you said on Monday night, get over it. You're lost. Your ancestors lost. The South is not going to rise again. You lost. Get over it. You're lost. You're lost. The Confederacy is dead. You're lost. You lost. And come this fall, you're going to lose again. You're going to lose again. And then in 2028, you're going to lose again. And history will remember what you said on Monday. It will remember what you said on June 15th. But I'll take it a little further than that. I just asked the question. And again, Commissioner Pittman said that the Emancipation Proclamation did not free the slaves. That's not true. That is not true. And again, you don't have to believe me. Just read it yourself. Slavery in the United States ended in stages, primarily during and immediately after the Civil War. The legal foundation was set by President Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, which declared free all enslaved people in Confederate states. January 1st, 1863. But again, Juneteenth is not about the day that slaves were freed. It is about the last amount of slaves who did not know that they were free. That is the day that is celebrated as the day that the chains were broken. The day the chains were broken. Again, Commissioner Pittman, and anyone who supports you and your words that you did on Monday at the Cabarrus County Commissioner meeting that voted positively to recognize Juneteenth, y'all are wrong. Y'all are wrong. And those who don't recognize their history, and make no mistake, the history of slavery in this country is American history. And as an American, whether it is you or me, if you forget your history, you are doomed to repeat it and to do it worse than it happened the first time. But not on my watch. Not on my watch. Not happening. So again, tell your friends and neighbors that Commissioner Pittman is wrong. Anyone who says that Juneteenth is based on a lie is wrong. And just like I always say, you don't have to believe me. Do your own research, just like I did. Do your own research. All right? But then go out and just acknowledge someone today. Just acknowledge them. Just acknowledge them. Let them see that you honor Juneteenth. That's all I got to say about that today. Because I can keep going talking about reparations that are not going to happen. But that's a whole other series of videos, and I don't think that I'm going to dive into that. Because from my standpoint, where I sit, and I'm 64 years old, where I sit, we're not getting reparations. We're not. We're not. I don't think that reparations, if reparations happen, it won't happen in my lifetime. It won't. So I'm not even going to dive in that. And that's not the subject of this video. The subject of this video was to disprove the lie that Commissioner Larry Pittman put out at the Cabarrus County Commission meeting on June 15th, and I'm satisfied that I have done so. Y'all have a good day. Have a great Friday. To all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day. To all the mothers and other people who are taking the place of absent fathers, happy Father's Day. Have a great weekend. And if my brother is watching this video, happy birthday, my brother. Happy birthday.